Gutter Stars session 38, I think. We're closing into the end of this kind of seasonal arc or whatever. It feels like it's wrong to put it that way because it sounds like and then the big finale will be this. The big finale will almost certainly be like 2 of your characters dying and the rest of you getting away with a paltry amount of loot from something.
Yeah,
if we're honest.
we're no longer in the gutter. We have ascended to
the stars.
Side of the dirty streets, probably.
Yeah. You're in a kind of DOS. You're in a DOS house. You're in a bunk bed in a DOS house.
Yeah,
now.
We've gone from the gutter to like a naturally formed kind of pothole in the pavement that which water goes into the gutter.
Yeah, it drains. It drains well. It's a well-drained hole in the ground. But yeah, so this you had finished your mission on Shipwrecker, and then the last few sessions we'd spent. Well, last session you spent outfitting your ship, and you have a ship because you went and negotiated with the Mind Flayer. You could have killed him, to be fair, but you negotiated with the Mind Flayer. He could have killed you to get the ship that he had obviously eaten everyone on, and take it back to the Rock of Bral, where it is now your ship. Which I'm not sure. There was a discussion last time about what to call it. I think there's some kind of nice suggestions like Cygnus or other meaningful things. It's a swan ship, you see, and there were some I think Beach had got some. I think he thought you should call it the Ugly Duckling. And there might be some other suggestions there. I don't know.
That cables again.
Yeah. So yes, there are a few suggestions about what to call the ship. There's also the Star Sail, your old ship, your current ship, with your friend Jackson, is now your ship's boat, isn't it? Your pinnace, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, what happened last time? What would have been the big, and what are you doing now?
Just let me know if I cut out again, because I think
we can hear you at the moment. I was saying I was just asking for a recap of what happened last time.
So
Alex is apparently on his way. Everyone mock him when he arrives.
Yes. Yes, an ancient hero has awoken from his slumber and shall be joining us soon.
Yeah. Live on YouTube, King Arthur returns. Oh wait, no, Alex. Sorry, Alex.
Alexander the almost great.
Yeah. Alexander the shift worker. So what happened last time? What's the recap?
So we made friends with the Mind Flayer and decided to go on a romantic cruise together across space to the Rock of Bral.
And time. Yeah.
And then we had a little bit of a falling out and he decided to go his own way. Don't know why.
Well, you thought you were friends. You thought this was going to be a long-term partnership.
Yeah. But yeah. Yes, and then he heard our brains rattle around in our skulls like maracas and decided that we weren't really worth it.
Yeah.
And so after that, we had decided. I need to get my character up. So we had some different leads, didn't we? And we decided on one.
You had a few things you could do, both kind of more or less on the same scale you've been doing, which I guess is still kind of appropriate leveled for you generally, probably. But also some new stuff that you could do because you've got a spelljamming ship.
Am I still dead?
Oh, you have to roll. This was sorry, because Andrew had come up with the fake sounding excuse that he didn't have a headset anymore. He has been avoiding rolling to see if Dr. Jones comes back from the dead. You are in limbo. You are what's the word? You are Schrodingered.
We appeared. I have a 94% survival chance.
Yep.
Here we go.
95. Here we go. Oof. I actually very briefly read that as 95, Andrew. Andrew rolled 59. Yep. I was going to say Andrew did with a character who had about a 94% chance of survival roll like a 99. I think he might have even had better than 94. It might have been like 96.
And hit that number before.
Yeah, and his friends had to go to Acheron to get back his higher soul.
What sort of friends this person has? I mean, honestly.
It is very slightly changed his character from being a borderline nightmare into simply a troublesome fellow.
Yeah. So had we been considering a cartography job that involves looking for some obstacles between Spiral and Iron Piece?
Yes, that was the job you'd taken. And I think you thought, wasn't there also something that was it? I need to double check, but treasure maps or something in.
Yes.
Was it realm space? Was it grey space?
I need
Something
to
like that.
post the rumours in the chat that I took as a note.
Yes, I would have thought I put them somewhere useful.
It's been the main session, so. Oh, come on! It should have formatted differently. Never mind.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know if this was from a while ago. It's the current one.
Yeah, those were rumors. Yep.
Were these rumors from last session or before that?
Last session you got some new rumors. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a different one.
I don't think we wrote them down, but it was like 2.
Oh, sorry. It was the cartography job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the same thing as looking for the obstacles, or was the obstacles the one we're doing?
The cartography job was the obstacles. Yeah, that was the sort of identifying anything that had been put up in the course of the war, or the now watchful peace.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you did have another one which involved you being eventually potentially leaving the crystal sphere that you're in.
Yes, finally leaving the nest, going out into the wider off-world. Maybe meeting against some more imaginative aliens than space orcs and space fish.
Sporks, I think they're called, aren't they?
Yeah.
People.
And spish or something like that.
Fish. Yeah. Oh, Andrew. So you remember, you do know this, but you reduce your con by 1.
Is that permanent or?
That is permanent. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've got. That's what you've got.
You can obviously wish that back up, and there is one of the manuals, manual of bodily something like that, bodily health, I think. One of the manuals. Yeah.
It was like a writing pamphlet or something.
Yeah.
We
did actually. We have just had the first time I've ever used one of the books or tomes or manuals in a campaign, or at least I think I've placed them before. But the first time one's been found and used just happened, which Andrew did in our open table game. He just used the Book of Exalted Deeds.
Nice.
Which I think the other cleric player who was there, Jamie, you weren't there when this happened. Very nobly, I think, knowing what it was, gave it up to Andrew on the basis that he had got to sit on a magic throne under a barrow and gain a level there. So I think he thought that Andrew could probably benefit this time.
Like the same world as well, but he just entitles you to like a small plot of land.
Yeah.
2 plots of lands.
Yeah. So yeah. No, they're fun. They're fun items. Like I'm minded to. I think that they're not actually a heavily game warping effect as long as your players don't fall out and hate each other over their use.
So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that will affect.
If I take your trait modifier down, does that affect your max HP as well?
Yeah, so for instance, let's say your HP was 2 because you were 1 + 1, you'd now be 1. You can't go to 0 off it because you would have necessarily rolled minimum 1 on the die.
Yeah, but okay, so the thing is that both my levels so far I've rolled 1 on the dice, so this is going to be interesting.
So no, but you now get to, you get to train though, so you earned a lot of money.
There is that, yes.
You didn't gain any XP from it, but you were already, I think, were you fit to train? Let's check. You beat the Mimic, and you got some stuff. Yeah, you'll be able to train. Because you're already you're already at like 2,000 before the stuff I have to add on. And
you do have to pay inheritance tax though on the money that you recollect from your previous dead self.
Yeah. This is the way to stop the exploit of infinitely killing off first level characters for their gold.
Right. Yeah, with that one, we noticed that sometimes in some of my games. I just have to say, like, if you keep dying, you either have to start going back to town or something, start getting new players.
Yeah.
So I'll start with less maybe.
Yeah. You would have trained. You would have trained back home. You would have been asleep for a week. I need to change the timetable. Actually, I realise I need to check, but it doesn't matter too much. It just costs you more in terms of your lodging cost. But yeah,
Yeah.
if you make your training roll.
Rivendell.
I rolled a 7, which is definitely under both my int and wit. So
Yeah. Okay. Now you can roll your d6 plus 0. Now is it, or is it still plus 1?
plus 0, unfortunately. My HP's gone.
Ooh, that's better.
That's a good one.
I was going to say 8 HP third level thief is less bad. I mean, as in it's slightly below expectancy, obviously still, but it's not bad. So yeah,
It could be worse.
well, yeah. I think that's the thing is compared to. Would you rather be if you'd rolled 1 again with the old con, you'd have been 6, whereas now you're 8.
Yeah.
So in a sense, I know you'd rather roll 6 and still have the old con, and then you'd be 10. But yeah, or 11 in fact. But yeah, they're pretty useful. Yeah, and it wasn't even because you're in combat. It was that you failed to check for traps. The one time you ever failed to check for traps, you got murked.
Well, lessons learned.
I think in the business we call that a skill issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was anyone else there checking for traps?
You did successfully.
I think one thing I realised I also need to make sure I write down because you'd pass some skill checks that session, which I don't think I've written down, but I think are in the Discord. But I need to do a final pass on some of that stuff now that things are going to be a bit quieter for a couple of weeks. So yeah, great. You'll be third level, just into third level, but you've got prime requisite, so you'll probably be like about 3,000 or something. And you'll need 5,000 to level up again. So I think it did Vil level up last time, by the way, Beej? I think he did, didn't he?
Yes.
And Thumb didn't, but Thumb was already third. Ichabod did. Morthylla, are you third or second?
Morthylla is currently level 3, 14 hit points. So I assume I'm level up left.
And Xeethra is first, second.
1, 2, yeah.
Fighter 2, that is, isn't it?
Yeah, fighter 2.
That's what you would have hit first. And Ichabod is second. Thumb is there. Sam Hambat, I think, had probably leveled up again, but I don't know. Yeah, he would have done because he was part of the big haul, which Jones and Thumb weren't. So Jones and Thumb were limited. But that's the thing. If you guys had been in, and it's more important for Thumb, you would have been able to level again. But you died bravely, letting everyone else get the money.
Bravely
Yep.
died.
I think we've also got a bard called Nimrim.
Yep, you do. You do.
Who's getting a harp share, so.
Yeah, she's got a harp, hasn't she?
It says she has a fiddle and sings here.
Oh, fiddle and sings. I thought, yeah, that's fine.
Um,
Yes, Vil did level. So Vil is third level now? Yeah.
Yeah, Vil is third level with a measly 8 hit points.
Yeah. I was going to say, you're a wizard. That's fine. You also, all the PCs are on board. So you also do have veteran PCs, Major Alphonse Remington Smythe, played by Andrew, the GIF. And you have Stipe Stack Chief, which is Tom's Halfling Cleric.
And I purchased a new War Dog.
Yes.
So we have that for Julius as well.
Yeah. You got a doggy. You've got a crew.
Rufus 2.
Did we put all this in
main session.
Did we put it in main session? Great.
Costs, etc.
Yeah, great. So, Nimrim, she is. I think was Well, was it that was Nimrim neutral good or you?
Yeah. So.
And are you lawful good? Morthylla's lawful good, is she?
Yes, neutral good. That's why we had one share point. Oh, chaotic good rather. I am.
You're chaotic. Yeah, that makes sense for Freya, doesn't it? It's a priestess of Freya.
Love is chaos.
Chaos is love.
Yeah. So yeah, so Nimreen's my henchman technically. So
Yeah.
yeah, she's yeah, primarily she'll run off if you know, I do something bad, or well, anyone really.
Yeah,
But
exactly. Yes.
always affected by my stat. So
Yeah. It's going to be. I was going to say, what's your reaction bonus? Oh, sorry, loyalty or loyalty bonus.
So it's in the main
So
session.
she's going to. Yeah, I can see it says +1 loyalty due to share. Oh, 1 shared point. So it's going to be like she's going to be loyalty 12 or something at this point.
Oh right, yeah. So yeah, the +1 is before if there's anything else.
It's +1 or something like that. So she's quite loyal. She's quite happy to be here. You seem like a mostly pleasant crew. I was going to say it's actually compared to some of our games, it is, and essentially I think it's just a good crew. Not Jones.
Exception.
Yeah. Well, and Ichabod. Yeah, Jones and Ichabod. They're forced to room together because of this.
No one else will room with them.
Yeah, I feel like Dr. Jones is not necessarily good for the corporate image.
Yeah. He's like your dodgy pharmaceuticals division that keeps getting in trouble, and you're like, well, we've built an orphanage, but are you experimenting on the orphans? Yes.
He's like a character in the IT crowd that most of the cast didn't even know existed in the building until a certain time or something, and they find
Yeah.
like, oh god.
No, he's like in those World of Darkness games where there's evil corporations who have like Pentex. I'm thinking about particularly, but there are literally more than one of these. But Pentex with like, oh yeah, there's like the local branch, this kind of local subsidiary of Pentex, which is like I don't know, Cuddly Friends Toys Limited, and all the toys have like worm spirits inside their voice boxes, and they speak evil things to the children at night, that kind of thing. And that is essentially Jones.
I assume that Tickle Me Elmo does that already.
Yeah. Yeah. Evil Elmo. Yes.
Yeah. He's like the Barber of Seville if it was set in Birmingham.
Yep. So, I mean, yes, I think you've been sailing and you found a bag. You found a dead beholder and a bag of its stuff. You were brave enough to go over to it, and then you got some stuff out of it, which was nice.
Did we find anything else hidden in its body, like something beautiful in its eyes, or any other puns illustrated?
No, you found there was some gems. It was 1, 2, 4, 5, 7 gems worth, which you've got the values for, and 5 potions that you haven't ID'd.
Yeah, we've got. It might be earlier, but we got a ring of gusting that you can use to summon the genie. Called the Iron Tornado, which sounds like a WWE wrestler or something.
Yeah.
So note that, people, if we need a genie, just mention it to me. I'll summon him out.
Yeah, you have a certain number of wishes left from him.
Yeah, particularly if we get into like a really tricky spot in space, I'm sure that he can be useful there.
Yeah.
Can I ask him if genie can breathe in space without using up the wish?
Yeah, he can talk to you. Yeah, that's one of the questions. I thought it was wishes you did, not questions. Nope, it's questions.
Right, 3 wishes do now. Does that
count?
Yeah. Okay, you got one more.
I wish you would answer the question. Yep, that's exactly how to put it. No, I think he's fine. I think. I don't like. Yeah.
Summon him for like casual conversation, like, you know.
He's. I'm not sure casual's the word. He's a foreign plenipotentiary, isn't he? You know, who is got a particular. His people gain a certain amount of. It's like interest on investment or something for the uses of the ring. So.
Wow, so he's not even getting. Oh, he's an absolute wage slave. He should rebel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he has this. He looks at you. You're like tediously going on about this, and he's like, "I'm a genie."
Yeah.
So the Q continuum had that civil war over what being a Q was, or something. That's what you're trying to cause, isn't it?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. And Andrew's going to spend the next arc is going to be Andrew attempting to cause a civil war amongst genies.
Yeah. I'll be like, I would like to ask, and I quote, does asking a question count as a wish? If that is not the case, please respond. If it is the case, please don't.
He says, "Are you wishing that I don't respond if it is a wish?"
Whoa, I'm
Yeah. He went. Yeah. He went to.
I'm saying that it would be pleasant if you were to inform me of certain things.
Yeah. No, he can talk to you. Yeah. It's not wishes, to talk to you.
Yeah. Can you breathe in space, dude?
I will check.
Is that what
And he
he
pulls
says?
out an old toe.
Yeah. He says, "I must check the complete compendium," and he looks suspiciously like he's putting. It says second edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons on it.
Yeah.
I guess it would come down to whether they are.
Air-based attacks are useless against them, so I think they probably have some very significant resilience. Let's put it that way.
Are they ethereal?
No, they're not ethereal. No.
Do they need to breathe? Sorry, what's that?
Yeah. I think they're a form of wind elemental, basically, aren't they? So I don't think so. I think they're probably they bring their own. It's like does the air elemental choke in space, and you're like. So there's also a thing that obviously in Spelljammer, you carry an air bubble with you. So even a person has an air bubble. It's just not a very good air bubble when he lasts you a little bit. Whereas a ship carries a much bigger air bubble, and you can create air bubbles that are functionally infinitely self-sustaining by like putting plants on your ship and stuff, as in essentially by scrubbing the air.
Yeah.
So
in this case, could I ride him and use him as an oxygen tank if I needed to?
the two of you together would create a bigger air bubble.
I know it sounds a bit weird, but could you use him as a resource breathable air?
Are you sure this genie is going to go along with that? Is he just going to let you ride him?
Riding the genie is
There it's
separate
you can handle it.
Whether you can and whether you should are different words.
Yeah.
Listen, if we're talking about riding a genie in space, that's too cool to mess up. Right?
Yeah. Why don't you want to do that?
Yeah.
It's definitely Spelljammer, isn't it?
I mean,
In fact, I think we need that in Warhammer. But...
Yeah. I mean, he. Let me just check something.
There's also the question of if he can create whirlwinds, would that be an air source potentially? I guess.
Yeah, I think he has.
I remember with the other genie, create a whirlwind that people.
You've actually picked up a genie twice in our games. This time was organic. The other time was obviously just the thing you had for your character. Let's check. It's the abandoned swan ship. It's
and that's also the question: is does he have the same genie powers as the one from our Hungry Earth game?
So yes, he's noble genie. He's actually more powerful. Basically, because upon the activation, that was the freebie. Essentially, you ask him that stuff. It has 2 charges, so he can be summoned and stay with you for 2 infinite periods of time, technically. But obviously, if he leaves for some reason, then you'd only have 1 charge left at this point. So, does that make sense? So at this point, what he can do, he is willing to. Yeah. He can. He would say, in an absolute emergency, he can create some food and water for you. He can create some sort of very cheap goods for you. With permanence, other stuff that doesn't. He does have gust of wind, cloud kill, control weather, air walk, and once a year wind tomb. And then he can grant 3 wishes. The 3 wishes, though, override the 2 charges thing.
Weather.
Gust of wind, cloud kill, control weather. These are each limited certain times per period. Air walk, and wind tomb. And he can grant 3 wishes, but that overrides the charge. So, as in, if the 3rd wish would expire the charges.
Okay, so I also get 3 wishes, but it also expires the charges.
Yeah. If you use the 3 wishes, yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, just writing this down. Yeah. Nice.
So yeah, you've got like that's pretty powerful, but obviously I'd say he'd only see kind of just doing scut work as relationship damaging. He will serve you and help you in crises, but if you're like, oh, could you please just carry me around the city, then if you can push the contract that way, he can push it the other way.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. Is he all right with like being around until he's needed, or does he want to kind of stay in the ring until it's emergency?
He summons, as in used one of the. There's, he'll say he'll tell you there's one charge left. So essentially, this is like with Breezy, he had a year's service, which was a different condition. Was essentially like, oh yeah, he will be your friend for another year. At that point, whereas for the Iron Tornado,
so if he dies, I'd need another charge to bring back. Or if
you can get him back once more. So yeah, there's a certain amount of like it's still pretty strong. It's not too fragile. He is a noble genie.
Yeah. So like you can't use him as like a biological fan or something, just when the ship's getting a bit hot. Or...
Yeah, like being like, well, I suppose obviously it's fine if you temporarily sacrifice him that way in a way that loses you the ring, but it saves your party. That's better than dying,
Yeah, I do love that. I think it was like a Dreadfleet ship where I think it had like a genie blowing the sails that was being summoned from the ship.
I am one of the three people who own Dreadfleet.
Got it. That's such a cool concept of like a land ship genie blowing the sails to get.
I also own Man of War.
Man of War. I've got a Dark Elf fleet.
Yeah, we should play.
Is that the Warhammer 40k?
No, both of them were Warhammer Fantasy. I do own Battlefleet Gothic stuff. I don't think I've got a rule book, but you can buy them. They're easy enough.
Stupid games.
Yeah, I've not read any of the rule books.
Yeah.
Like,
they're decent.
Like battles in space should be like a thing. It's space sci-fi fantasy. Setting,
I think it's not a criticism, but it's a sign of what the audience actually wants. That Battlefleet Gothic is not the big game, though. As in, people didn't want. They'd already done Space Fleet before that as well. I think essentially people want.
I mean, I think that's always going to be a more neat thing, like naval.
Yeah, exactly. It was a bit too much like playing the Battle of Jutland using 1 to 700 or something.
Yeah.
Which is cool, by the way. People should do that, but like I think it's very different audience. Whereas like I've got some kind of monsters or some superhumans who run around with guns. That's kind of I think that's fairly simple.
The game like started off as and is Space Marines the flagship. No pun intended.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That is all of your prep, but in negotiation with a genie friend. The Iron Tornado also does do a great power slam, he says.
Okay, nice. Is that something that you can do once per day, or are you just built like that?
I can do this all day, brother, he says.
Nice, sick dude.
But he
do you want our bard to play like the John Cena theme on her violin?
Entrance music to really be happy, to increase his loyalty. You have to give him entrance music.
Yes.
And then you done this. You travel through space, and you had found this beholder thing, which we just briefly mentioned, and then you had found you'd seen a big shiny rock.
Can we tell how big it is, or is the depth perspective element hard to gauge?
I think you're approaching it. I think you can. Presumably, with any amount of travel towards it, you begin to get depth perspective. Like, as in, you measure it relatively, don't you? Because you got like how much is the gap between the fixed stars on the firmament of the crystal sphere? Because that's
how to look as we
I mean, it's maybe like half a mile diameter. It's not massive. It's reasonably that's small. Obviously, Shipwrecker was about 90 miles or something. So it's much smaller than Shipwrecker, but it's quite reflective. Like its albedo is high or whatever. Like I think that's the relevant thing here. Astronomers, correct me in the chat.
Yeah. Is it kind of as reflective as a mirror, or are we talking more like shiny metal kind of look, or like blurry, or is it coloured at all?
It's kind of silvery light, I guess, reflecting, as I say, shiny silvery.
Mm-hmm. I see.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if it sounds like it's a mile wide, it's probably worth going over inspecting, maybe landing upon.
I was going to say, oh yeah, you're in Spiral's ring here, aren't you? So you're at yeah, you are. I'm very close to it. You're in Spiral's space at this point. The way we're doing it, just for a reminder, Spiral, which was an elven-ruled planet, kind of the height of one of the great worlds of the Imperial Elven Navy's alliance system, which was captured in the Second Unhuman War by the Scro, which is now kind of a ceasefire in this system, but there is in other systems. The war does continue between the Imperial Elven Navy and their allies against the Scro.
Does this object appear to be moving as well, in the sense of?
Yeah, it has an orbit, presumably. It doesn't seem to be moving. It seems to be moving concentrically, on the same kind of ring as Spiral.
Cool. So I presume it doesn't look like it's moving so fast that it would be, pardon me, dangerous to approach.
No. It's you've dropped from tactical speed to see it. You'll be at whatever distance you'll be at. It won't be that far. And yeah, it's not going at spelljamming speed. It's going at, as it were, tactical speed. Which means compared to a ship, that's slowly. Like obviously, a ship will generally be moving faster than a planet. Otherwise, you can never escape it.
Yeah.
This is awful.
It's kind of funny thought when you think about just how fast they must be going. But yeah, I mean,
It's escape velocity.
Yeah. Yeah, people fine for us to just approach and have a look up close.
This, of course, is not real physics, to be clear to people. This is magical physics. We're not actually trying to like gravity assist and things like that. Just
I start doing that scene from Inception where they try to like dock the ship while the other one's moving and organ starts playing.
Yeah. But yeah, you can head over to it. You are able to go faster than it. Coming closer. It's shiny. It's not incredibly bright. It's a sort of, in a sense, it's actually quite a dull metallic sheen, if you know what I mean. But it's obviously still shiny enough to reflect light, which is what it's doing from the sun, from the system's primary.
So it's not shiny and chrome. It's just a dull metallic.
Yeah. Is it a never before seen colour and something that's gradually getting small as it emits heat and makes us go crazy and get ill?
No, it's kind of like the 8th colour of the rainbow. It's more like that, the colour of magic, something like that. Yeah. That which I think, of course, is more or less the same thing as getting too close to plutonium or whatever.
How is this radiation?
Yeah. I think we've established that radiation exists in our worlds. I don't know how exactly works with the weave. Like maybe it's kind of a the weave being like pouring out of something, magical radiation. It's how the spell plague works, for instance. So yeah, great. Yeah, kind of a dull but reflective metal, silvery metal.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any? I don't suppose we hired a blacksmith.
Okay. Are people okay with us landing on it?
Or
sending out our smaller ship to, search party?
Oh,
I mean, probably.
I just remembered I have planetology, so I can see if I know anything more.
That would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know things.
You examine it and you go, this sea appears to be too small to be a planet.
Yeah. I only recently discovered what the distinction between like planet and dwarf planet was. I understood that. Obviously, I remember the Pluto controversy. I was there.
I was there.
I was on
remember
Pluto.
Years ago.
Yeah.
I lived
Was
through
there,
it. Never
Gandalf?
again. Never again.
Yeah. But yeah, so I remember remember it happening, but I didn't ever really know what the difference was. I was like, presumably I was like happy to accept there was a difference, obviously.
Yeah. Is there a difference other than the size?
People want you to think that it was just like a scientific redefinition, but it's actually that Pluto exploded, and there's only
Yeah, Pluto's not even there. They're covering it up. No, it is to be a planetary object. It needs to have like a stable orbit and to be able to attract other objects. To be a true planet, it has to be dominant on its, as it essentially has to monopolize its particular orbit.
Yeah, like Pluto's.
Oh, okay.
I forget the terms for highest and lowest points of orbit, but it comes within the orbit of
Neptune.
Neptune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aren't there meant to be other dwarf planets orbiting the sun, apparently, or something like that?
Yeah, there's loads. You
Yeah.
can just look it up.
I heard that was one of the
Sounds-
reasons why it was recategorized, so that people
Yeah.
don't feel like, okay, I guess we've got 13 planets in our solar system.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's also there is a distinction between those 2 points, as in the idea that something is actually the big dog in its neighborhood versus it's stable and it can attract stuff, but it's not actually the biggest. It doesn't control its orbit. It's just another thing.
And I'm still waiting for when NASA releases Elf Planets, the new update. I can't wait for that personally.
Yeah. They're really arrogant. So you look like you succeeded. I just saw you rolled.
Yeah.
Skeleton 4.
I do not have 4 intelligence.
I've seen characters where they get like bonus NWPs for something, but have like a raw low stat will be like, and it's got a minus. It'll be like 6 will be their score. I've seen that happen. That's not uncommon.
No.
Yeah, but no, it's a metallic object. I guess you describe it as an Earth object. It is semi-spherical, but not completely, as in it. There are things that you'd understand to do with how pressure makes things spherical compared to other lumps in space. This isn't truly spherical, so.
Is it a bit like an ellipsoid kind of shape, if that's the term?
Yeah.
Washed sphere.
It's like Mars's moons, which are kind of crap. They're crap moons, in my opinion. But yeah.
3 out of 10. Try again, solar system.
Actually spherical.
Yeah.
It's a squish sphere, right? Because the momentum of the orbit or something like that.
Yeah. It's to do with that. Yeah. I remember, I forget the exact term, but yeah. It's to do with it that.
Asteroid, I think.
Yeah, but yes. So
Yeah.
it's fairly spherical, but it's not truly spherical. It's in that sense, it's an ellipsoid. It is a dull metal. You would think of it as an Earth object. It doesn't. There's nothing that you would look at Kawakami and be like, "Oh, this thing is obviously secretly a bubble of air." It could be. There's weird things in space, right? But you'd think it's an Earth object because metals count as Earth.
Does that mean we should expect like pretty typical gravity? Like it's not going to be like super dense.
Yeah, I mean gravity doesn't. Yeah, it could be gravitationally heavy. Gravity doesn't tend to vary as much as we might expect in terms of pressure. Like something having a metal core, which in our world obviously it adds to density. Is not as much of a problem, as much of an issue here. Like, yeah, this is planetary romance. You'd expect it to be. You'd feel a bit slower on it because it's kind of so metallic. Because metal's heavy. That's the way it works. But yeah,
rather than it being like total mass, like how Jupiter would have more gravity unit as a gas.
Yeah, exactly. Just think what is the easy one note exclamation you'd give to a kid, and that's pretty much the logic here.
It will have any Martian princess who's like, don't you know on this planet we don't wear clothes?
Yeah, and you're like, why are you naked? And she's like, I just explained.
If we're the ones discovering this planet, we can make that rule.
Truly just the gender.
People stop visiting this planet and you're all naked. Apart from Morthylla, who finds it inappropriate.
Yeah, you get stranded on the planet naked, and you just have to lie to everyone that that's normal on that planet.
Yeah. So yeah, you You would think
I'm the last being of a society of nude people.
Yeah,
We
indeed.
consider-
You would think Kawakami. You're not certain, but you'd think, yeah, you can land. You never know. It could be a monster. It could be a bubble of air inside a tiny cluster of metal. It could be anything. But
Shall we send out half the party on our small ship to go check it out? Because after all, it might be super hot, for example, for all we know. We don't want to damage the hull of our
Are you
main
willing
ship.
to leave this
If we
expedition?
send the small ship and it dies, then we've just killed Jackson.
Well, killing half the party is better than killing the whole party.
But killing
well, I think Jackson would say, look, I can just stay on the ship while you descend.
Yeah.
Like you can cast down on ropes, can't you?
Yeah. Can we do like a Star Trek beam me up, Scotty? But it's like really rubbish version of it.
Rope me down, Scotty.
Rope me up, Scotty.
beam me down, but analog.
Yeah. Like, could you put a beam out from the ship, please?
Okay.
And I'll
Right,
climb
anyway,
down
I'll take the
awkwardly.
rope down if that's all right. And I'm gonna just carefully test it with my feet while I'm hanging from the rope to make sure the metal isn't super hot.
Yeah.
Make sure it's like aluminium surrounding a sphere of lava.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, no, you descend, and it doesn't appear hot. It does look very slightly heat warped. So when you look at it, that's not obvious from like a mile away. But as you look at it, like it looks heat warped, but it is not hot as you float above it. Do you touch down on it? Which character are you? Because we need to know who to kill.
Who's on the ship?
Sorry, yeah.
Who's
So I'm Morthylla at the moment, and I'll just tap it with my boots a bit first, and then.
Yeah. So you burn your feet off, is what you're saying.
I'll take the major. I don't think this rock looks trapped.
My
Major,
feet rather than my whole body, if necessary.
Major Morthylla. It's going to be Kawakami because Alex keeps killing his characters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
do
not
think
right
we have
there.
the backup ready. I said they were part of the crew.
Yeah. Who do you want?
Spell Kawakami?
I'll be Kawakami, but yeah.
I'm.
You want to spell Kawakami.
Oh yes, you did. You say you'd made another character, Alex? You did say that, didn't you? Your second. Yeah. Remember we did discuss that.
My
And is that this? We're one. Yes, Simon. Who are you taking?
I will take Ichabod.
Yep. That means you've got fighter, cleric, monk, wizard, cleric. So reasonable mix.
Sorry, so what class is Ichabod? And
Ichabod.
Ichabod.
okay, I had a typo when I wrote this off my character sheet. Sorry, I've memorized your silly name.
His class is the glory has departed.
Isn't Ichabod biblical or something?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's the translation.
I'm sorry for whoever I offended, but I shall not take back my statements.
Yeah, I should not take back my ignorance. I remain ignorant.
I think he's just a priest, isn't he? Give me just a second.
Yeah, I think he's just a cleric. You didn't make him a particular.
Yeah.
All right.
It's just
I think you probably shouldn't, but I think you can be a. I don't know, mate. I'm trying to think. Can you be a priest of Remain? Let's go and check monster mythology.
So is Phil the wizard then?
Will is your. See, what is he? Is an enchanter, conjurer,
Bill's a conjurer.
a conjurer of
Is
cheap
he
tricks.
made a fight then?
Yeah.
Kawakami does a very bad impression of a fight.
Cool.
he's a priest astrologer. That's what he is.
Yeah.
Ichabod. He's a priest astrologer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
So, Remanos has shamans who are by default bullywug only, who are get druid spheres,
No frog. No
and
god.
they must become regularly intoxicated with plant alkaloids. They can can't have any weapons or armor, so that's good. They are better than druids for that. And they get. I think they. I need to check if I'm reading this right. I think it's just you'd get 1 HP per level. I guess plus con. So yeah, not strong. But I mean, hey, if it probably funny.
Shaman is a class, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
I assume it's
you get an
not-
AC bonus. For being
You get your other benefits of being a shaman. Yeah.
What what do shamans actually get? Because I never actually read it.
There are two versions of it. We'll look at this at another time. But yeah, there are two versions of shaman. Yes. So I think that the point is though, Ichabod is not one of those because Ichabod, it's not actually clear if Ichabod really believes in Remanos or not, or if it's a marriage of convenience for him to go around.
Deliberately ambiguous.
Yeah.
Be an agnostic cleric. Come on.
It's not agnosticism. It's
It's indifference. It's
indifference.
Yeah.
It's not a lack of faith. It's a lack of commitment.
Yeah. That's what Ichabod's 4 ex-wives say as well.
You're telling me you're like friends with benefits with your god then?
Yes.
That is a way of looking at it. Yeah, it's an internal fire insurance policy.
Yeah.
Oh, I got drunk last night and prayed to my god. Can't believe what am I like? I promised I wouldn't.
So yeah, he is. I think just a basic cleric, and so is Morthylla. We did discuss this actually. Yeah, Freya was also like a bit of a dubious quality priesthood, and which never had like a power curve upgrade.
Yeah.
Which I don't really care in other ways. I think you can always have a good character out of that. But you can tell there's some that just got thrown together, and then about 4 when they're making the realms priest books, they're like, how can we make these really powerful? Which they, as Alex can witness, in fact, and I did this to him. He's done the same. It's been mutual screwing, you pick a priesthood from that book, and you're like, well, those books, you're like, yeah, this is great. I was playing a dwarf who had a spell that made my beard go silver and gave me 1 AC, +1 AC, which is pretty powerful.
1 AC.
As in improves your AC by 1. That is what that means. I know it's confusing.
It should be a bonus of -1 AC. Is what it's phrased as.
It should be +/-1. What?
What?
Yeah. Great. This is why people don't like our game, Jemmy. Stop telling them about it.
That goes not confusing, guys.
Yeah, it's not confusing, but it is counterintuitive based on all the games you played since the 1990s.
God. I mean, I know at least in one rule book or module it said like penalty of or bonus of, and then the actual thing. But whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
Clear text.
Yep. So yes, yes,
So
you land. It doesn't burn you. No, your shoes are not burned off. It seems perfectly cool.
Cool.
Mm.
So are there any things we can see on the surface other than the material of the item itself?
Yeah, I was going to say one thing that you're close enough to the star sail to think about air, but as you land on it, you don't enter a separate atmosphere. It doesn't seem to have its own atmosphere.
Mm.
It can carry an atmosphere because it has the mass to, but not everything that can does. Do you know what I mean? A bit, it.
Oh, yeah.
It's in that sense a bit like it's not the same at all, but it's similar to the fact that obviously planetoids and stuff in our world will sometimes have atmospheres and sometimes won't. It's the same principle really, that you're like, yeah, this one has not picked up air anywhere.
On that note, so we have an air bubble with us then. How long does it last, if so?
The star, weeks. The star sail has, for you, the amount of people on the star sail, it has weeks worth of non-foul air.
Do we carry any air with us?
An amount based on your mass, which we can check if you do that, is not loads.
Yeah. What kind? How long will it last for usually? In such
This is
because
this is
time
this is a rulebook question.
Excuse me, you want me to disclose my mass?
Yeah. You never ask a 3 things. You never ask a man his wage, a conjurer how fat he is, and something
or
else.
a priest of Freya.
Yeah.
Priestess of Freya MS.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. She would say actually it was very good last week. We did a lot of praying and reading from.
Yeah, very holy moment actually.
Yeah.
The air around an individual body remains fresh. So an individual body remains fresh for 2d10 turns. So it's randomized 20 minutes to 20 hours.
Okay, right. So what we could do, right, is have ropes hanging from the starship as it follows us above, and then we like pull on the rope if we run out of air. And
Is it like diving then? You're doing like a diving thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's quite fun actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I mean,
we
yeah,
do that.
Jackson can do that. Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Putting a flag on it.
Okay.
It's ours now.
Well, we're probably just going to look and see if there's anything of value here, and then sell the location to like a mining company or something.
Yeah, this place does feel a bit like some kind of awful trap, but I can't really explain why or how.
It feels like an asteroid made of metal.
Yeah, let's pick the shiny rocks and go. Like,
Unless the metal is radioactive, then I'm not entirely sure what the trap would be.
Can we push this into Dark Sun?
If we propose this,
Make literally the most money
worth-
ever.
it could be worth billions.
Can you imagine how many ceramic
Yeah.
you're trying to just dark sun?
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't that the problem? The real problem is that you destroy the market. It's like gold from the New World,
Yeah.
silver from the New World.
Great.
Okay, right. So yes, yeah. If we're able to set up that, then I guess we'll just like walk along, try and do like one diameter and then another diameter roughly perpendicular to it to explore the planetoid shape thing.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's up to Owen to roll the dice in secret, right? For how long it would last, and then
Yeah.
we could like swap people in and out, couldn't we? Or like you go back and breathe, and then I don't know how long it takes to get a air bubble back. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess
you can swap people in and out.
practically, I suppose, unless you're really strung out, you might all be somewhat sharing, you know, a big air bubble. I don't think mass-wise, you clustering together, even if you weighed a ton or more, I don't think would solve the issue.
Can you imagine that us all sharing the same air bubble? I mean, like one guy casts Stinking Cloud, and you're done.
Yeah.
Hold me up now, bro.
Yeah.
It's like Magic the Gathering tournament.
How much does the Major weigh? No offense, Andrew.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've generated that, or if I've just got it on the. I might have generated it and just put it on the.
I don't believe that GIF can actually go over one customary ton. Imagine.
Yep, I have generated it. He weighs 3,500 libs.
Libs.
Oh.
What?
Liberals, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
this is Andrew being
This is
funny.
your crazy old people units.
I mean, to be fair, that is the weight of a hippo. The mean adult weight is about £3,000. So, yeah, basically, you
Your mama jokes.
you can stay if you stay near the Major. You can breathe his air for weeks.
Oh my lord. You can breathe it for weeks, but like you'll choke yourself to death before that time's up. You're like, please, whatever this air is, shouldn't be breathable.
You go full on Captain Oates. I maybe sometime.
Yeah. I bet it's like, like large animals like hippos and
Yeah.
gorillas tend to have because of plants they consume on top of the floor and like it's probably
It's up to you guys. You may cluster around the Major, or you may avoid his stinky air. I would say it means clustering close to him as well, so area of effect would matter for this purpose. Like, as in, you'd all be it'd be adjacency based.
Yeah. As a priestess as well, adorned with beautiful Norse perfumes and the smell of honey and flowers, I will steer clear unless it's an emergency.
Yeah. Essentially, he is your base camp, your very fat base camp.
I'm a perfectly healthy weight for an adult hippo. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Oh no, probably. Well, he probably is. It's just for the rest of you. You realise for the first time this has ever come up in the campaign in 41 sessions, I should say, because of the pre-stream game, which was also on an asteroid, which did have air in that case. It's come up that the Major is big enough to create an atmospheric bubble.
Yeah, my character actually like falls into him due to the atmospheric pull he creates from his.
Yeah. You start spinning around him in like a death spiral, but a very slow death spiral as you're slowly drawn towards the center of mass.
That's his
His
natural
torso
authority.
starts turning into like a squashed circle. Sphere shape.
It kind of sounds like a your mum joke. You know, your
Yeah.
You
I
got
said earlier, cue your mama jokes. So.
Yeah. Yo, Giffy, so fat. No, he legitimately does cast his own atmospheric bubble. It's not a joke. Yeah.
Yeah.
A noble Ginny can, like, I wouldn't necessarily risk asking him, but he can carry the major. Oh no, sorry, he can't carry the major. He can carry over a ton. He cannot carry the major. The major is too fat.
Okay. Jeez. Your mama's so fat, the Ginny can't carry him.
Yeah,
He's big boned.
yeah.
big everything.
Yeah.
Great. So yes. No, you walk around. It's yeah.
Oh yeah, Ginny's singular, isn't it?
It's what it's going to be a couple miles round, isn't it? Walking around. Yeah, so you do a couple of these things, which is it'll take what 4 turns to go round, something like that. At this point, everyone still has a. By the way, who is with the Major and who is not? Who is using the Major's personal atmosphere?
Ichabod is using the Mage's personal atmosphere. He thinks it's great.
He's whispering, "I'm breathing you in" to the Major in the Major's ear.
Good. Might learn a few things, old chap.
It's like smelling the Mage's air is like
Oh.
a sneak preview of the heat death of the universe or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine this is what Romanos' great swamp in the sky smells like.
Oh.
And on that note, Kawakami will not be in the Mage's
Yeah.
pocket.
You're taking notes on who can be court-martialed and who isn't.
Yeah. Who has confidence in the command of this expedition? Yeah. And Vil.
Vil is within fireball radius of the Major.
Yeah. He's like, I'll take the risk. It's fine. Yeah. So there's two inside, 2 outside. Great. So doing your second circuit, 2 things will come up. One, the Kawakami after another 30 minutes, or after 70 minutes. You're most of the way around. Kawakami and Morthylla. The air begins to smell bad, and you feel a bit sluggish.
Major, I told you to stay away from me.
Yeah. The gas is spreading.
Yeah.
You instantly
You weigh so
and
much,
die.
like,
There's
send the planet out of orbit and give.
Yeah.
Is it an
So,
yes? Is it just kind of bad, not necessarily recognizable item or element?
You are not choking. You're. I think you're -2 to hit and to save at the moment, something like that.
Does it affect our AC?
I don't think it affects your AC. No.
Has anyone taken a sample of this metal yet? Like, just chip a piece off the.
Yeah, like I think I'd said.
Attack rolls and ability checks, not saves.
Okay.
So NWPs. You're just a bit foggy headed. You're like, ugh.
Yeah, like Owen, I'd assume we'd have been like looking for like interesting rock samples, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we see anything in there.
Think of a few shiny pebbles.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when we find this bad smell, is there anything we notice visually at all, or does it mostly seem?
No, that means the air's fouling. It's not going to be like.
Yeah, I think there's nothing visually that's different. It smells like the toilets are after a kind of rugby end of season dinner at the last days of the Raj.
Yeah, I mean, as far as my character's concerned, like the air can't foul if it's her air. Like,
it's not. That's not real. It can't happen. The air smells good, but you're still feeling a bit woozy.
Yeah.
The air smells a bit stale.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should perhaps hurry up a bit.
I'll probably.
Major, if we pass out, please invite us into your bubble, like forcefully.
Yeah. You also towards the end of that perpendicular circuit, you'll see a kind of a chimney, I guess, a smallish hole going in, like a well, a wellhead or whatever.
Okay. I'm gonna go up to it and.
Sorry, Morthylla, what did you say? You're going to go up to it and
Smell it.
Smell it.
Can you hear me now? Yes.
Yeah, it smells the same as your current bubble of air.
Morthylla says, "Aha! I see. This is the source of the foul odor that was ruining my day."
Yeah.
We're just running out of air holes, chap. Well, you are.
Morthylla
Is it
is
wide enough to
suffering
go
from
down?
What's that? What's
one
that?
of the symptoms of hypoxia is confusion. I think Morthylla is suffering.
Yeah.
Can I tie the rope around my
It's-
body
it's
so that I can be lifted up if need be?
Yeah. Well, I assumed you'd done that, as I thought that was your
Okay.
instruction to Jackson, was to keep an orbit above you. Yeah. So you the chimney or hole. It's fairly
Yeah.
straight down. It's about 4 foot wide. As in, the Major couldn't fit down. Anyone else could. You could if you could get Stipe and Fozzle the gnome, you could stick them together and put them both down.
Okay.
All right,
That might be racist. Sorry.
Sorry. So I'll ask the Major then if he can signal for me to be lifted back up if the rope stops moving.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes
So
sense.
are you?
Moving and I'm evidently powered.
Oh, you're descending, as in you're asking to be lowered, essentially.
Yeah. Sorry, were we saying with the Major that his air bubble will provide for long, or
Weeks.
is it more that it just okay?
No, he is. This is where the jokes came from.
Yeah,
He has a
what
bigger
is the
bigger
radius
bubble with one air.
of his bubble?
Yeah. No, this is something I would say. I feel like this. I'm completely fine with this, by the way, as a DM. I feel like this sounds like something that did not come up in playtesting. That Complete Spacefarers creates PC racers who create their own air bubbles.
Or
But
maybe-
I think that's quite fun, though, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
yeah,
Totally.
like, it does
Yeah.
seem like the kind of thing they might have considered.
that someone might have considered. I don't know. Like I think you can tell there's a massive variation in like what is playtested in second edition and what is not. Like you're like, oh yeah, this actually looks like someone's actually done it, or this adventure looks like someone's run it. And then you read other stuff and you're like, okay, this doesn't.
It's very different, like having someone's Spelljammer make their own air bubble to having, say, someone in Dark Sun just produce water like out of it.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah. As in, it's much more strategically interesting in Spelljammer because producing their own water is a way of obviating something in the game. Whereas here, you're like, no, you have to have a guy. You can go with this guy and stand next to him if you like, and get blown up if he gets blown up, or you can do something else.
So what was the radius of his air bubble?
Fireball.
That's a personal question.
I
It's gonna be fireball. It's basically I'm saying more or less adjacency. Like within reason,
Okay, right, yeah.
because it says it's a personal bubble. But it's complicated by the fact that is he a person anymore? Does he count as a ship in his own right?
Hey, look, if it's a bigger person, right, it'll be a bigger radius, surely. Look, what I'm asking is the radius possibly the
radius is, let's say the radius is, the radius is his radius, as in there's it is like his radius plus his radius, so it's just a circle around him.
Okay. Can I get him to can I get you, Major, to go on the chimney and just blow down it while I descend?
I was about to suggest that what we need in future is some kind of flexible breathing tube, so I can just stand outside of holes like this and just blow air down.
No, you don't need to. You just need to tie it around your waist. Like you need to have. There's a rope, but it's not a rope. It's a breathing tube tied around the Major's waist as the kind of leverage.
On the cover.
But and also, you then breathe it in, and it breathes in like the air next to the mage's belly button.
Oh, you just know what would happen is the character would then like fart in it.
Yeah. So your genie can do stinking cloud, so he could stinking cloud down the tube, couldn't he? Just to make you gag. We did have. She had
actually, I didn't write that down. I know cloud kill.
Yeah. But, no, maybe it's cloud kill, not stinking cloud. But yes, I'll send you the profile. But yeah, no, that was again obviously in a recent adventure. Which you weren't. That was the session you missed. There was a wizard who cast stinking cloud.
Okay. Sorry, stinking cloud, but not cloud kill. You say?
No, he can cast cloud kill, gust of wind, control weather, airwalk, wind tomb. Yeah, and he has his whirlwind as well.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Nice. Whirlwinding through space at some point would be fun.
Yeah. And he is immune to all air-based attacks. Hence why he cannot be. He can't be easy. You know, he can't just like die if there's no oxygen somewhere, because that would mean that cloud kill or poison gas or wind control is also there. I guess wind control will also affect his whirlwind. But yes, great.
Yes.
Yeah. Great. I would say one thing I should say, by the way, from having spoken to Iron AD, you get the impression that he'll do this stuff, and obviously if you treat him with respect as an equal or whatever, that'd be good. But maybe if you made his life comfortable while he's on the ship, that would make him more amenable to doing things you wanted.
Sorry, so is he current?
Is he with? I was just adding that because we talked about it. He's not currently with you because you didn't say he's with you. He is presumably
summoned.
Presumably back on the, what is it called? The Ugly Duckling, the Cygnus, the Windy Megalodon. That is the name of a ship in another game.
Sorry,
what's the ship called?
Nostalgia for Infinity.
Nostalgia for Infinity. Isn't that a Dream Theater album?
It's an Ian M. Banks name from one of the culture novels.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. You should have a fleet, but all of them are named after mines from culture.
Yes.
And it'll be like that novel Xchonez, by the way, the culture novel where everyone I know has had to take notes to understand what happened, which is a more or less unique experience.
They just aliens steal some ships. That's what happens in that one.
That is literally what happens in Xchonez. It turns out, yeah. Once you've actually read it.
Yeah, I've heard you had like reading groups of Finnegan's Wake that have been reading the book over the course of multiple decades.
I heard of a group of that, like 20 years ago. I heard a group that was doing that, and I think I read the same group like 5 years ago had finished, but it was like a 40-year read or something. And as far as I can tell, it's crap. So I don't know why.
You ask him at the end of it, it's like four decades of studying this literary method. What do you think of it? It's a load of rubbish. 1 star on Goodreads.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it wasn't a prank, but it feels like it borders on a prank, doesn't it? You know.
Yeah.
It's I mean, there's some other kind of postmodern writers a bit like that, like Pynchon and stuff, where you're like,
yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, indeed. But you know what I mean, like where there's ones where like this feels on the borderline of whether or not this is a normal book.
Definitely.
But yeah, I know you like Pynchon. Yeah, we'll have to, book group wise, we'll have to read Pynchon sometime and alienate half the book group for those. Yeah. So, yeah, Simon would consider it. It turns out that's what that sound means.
I've tried 3 times.
Yeah, and failed 4 times.
Well, I've read one. I've read Crying a Lot 49 because it's short.
Yeah, it is. Great. So, you begin to be lowered down. And you can probably be lowered down quite quickly for what it's worth, because if you think you could drop very quickly, but you can be lowered down, you can like hand over hand, the Major can probably, put you down fairly quickly. But yeah, you'll be outside of his air bubble, so you'll be back into hypoxia. There's probably a thing we will not deal with now. I will say you've not been there long enough to refresh, but does that mean the Major can refresh other people's air? By then? But it also
very, very lightly on the meaning of the word refresh.
yeah. It's technically breathable, but
You can be up, isn't it?
He can
that's
reoxygenate. He can
something else.
reoxygenate your air. But yes, no. So we'll judge he can't for now because there is a thing about the volume of air in a body as to what air you can get.
Sorry,
but yeah, you will. Yes.
Yeah. So how long would it take on the ship to refresh my air if I went up to do
that? Pretty much instantly. As in, don't worry. If you're inside another bubble, you can breathe. And a ship. As you want Jackson to pull, so you get pulled up. Kawakami, you're just humbly standing next to the Mage now, having learnt your lesson, aren't you?
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So a couple of turns later, you come back down, Morthylla, with refreshed air. And yeah, I will double check. I'll double check all this. But yeah, you'll start to. You'll be lowered down. It'll be fairly quick. I mean, as in, I'll roll you again. I'll roll you secretly the amount because it could be 2 or it could be 20. Couldn't it? So it kind of matters.
Yeah, and I'll still have to get away if I run into anything dangerous while I'm
there. There is, in terms of the rules, which I mean, you would know this from people who haven't talked about it. Essentially, you get whatever your fresh air amount is, 2d10. And then your fouled air goes up to 30. So if, let's say, 7, you had 23 turns. It would have been less by the time you got up to the ship, like 21 turns. But 23 turns of fouled air, because it goes up to 30. If you rolled 20 turns of fresh air, it would have been 10 extra turns of fouled air up to 30. Mm-hmm. Then it becomes poisoned air, essentially. So yeah, you have 30 turns. What you know is you have 30 turns of not dying.
Nice.
The Major has like months worth of turns.
I think we're probably going to need to figure out like a way of breathing longer than that in nothing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously in a pinch we can use our genie, but like we wouldn't want to disrespect him by turning into an airbag or something.
Yeah. Could you keep breathing on me, please?
Surely you wouldn't want to disrespect the genie by doing that, but you would disrespect me.
Yeah, there's got to be a romance subplot where it's like at first they only needed to use each other for the air, and then we developed feelings afterwards.
Yeah, the campaign endgame of this is Morthylla marries into Jin nobility.
Yes.
Leads legions of like kind of I don't know what the Freya equivalent of a Valkyrie is, but like, you're like, oh, they're like Valkyries because they're like Norse. Oh, are they? I mean, are they like fierce warrior women? They are women. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like Freya like rides across the sky in a chariot with cats. That's kind of
they're all like battle cat riders.
Yeah. Basically,
what were you saying, Alex?
Didn't Freya lead for Valkyries?
I don't know.
No, she might have done. She might have done.
They're meant to collect dead warriors.
The Queen of the Valkyries, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, Einherjar are really the equivalent for in terms of petitioners for like the Norse gods.
Yeah, maybe the eye is based on that.
Yeah. So yes. Anyway, we were saying, so you are lowered down into the sphere, and about a quarter of a mile down, a couple of minutes into being lowered down. You'll see a as the kind of the slight curvature of the chimney clarifies, you will see a point of light ahead of you, and you'll feel it's very slightly hotter, not drastically hotter, but very slightly hotter.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, did you say it was? Is it still? Am I still in the chimney itself?
You're in the chimney, yeah.
Yeah, I'll keep going down.
Cool.
Yeah, Freya is actually generally quite associated with war. She receives half.
Yeah. What I was going to say, I have to check. We'll have to have a look at Legends and Lore again. That's fine. Yeah. So yeah, you as you get a bit further down, the point you'll get to point. There is extra heat. What you'll see is there is the size of the chimney. There is like a 4-foot wide area, which looks to be very slowly oozing liquid metal out. It looks very hot, like it's point of light, but the metal then is cooling. When I say slow, it's incredibly slow. It's not like, oh yes, there's a foot a minute. It's like, you can imagine you look at it and you can see it's liquid metal coming out.
Yeah,
but it essentially looks static as you look at it.
You cut out just before you got to the bit about the metal oozing out of a hole in the wall.
That'd be way funnier if I did that on purpose and just did that repeatedly through the session to you. Yeah, no, it's you see as a 4 foot space, which looks like it is covered in liquid metal, very hot, and with a degree of brightness. But you can see there's very slight movement, as you watch it for a couple of turns, as if maybe more is coming out at an incredibly slow rate.
So the chimney or like holes opened up into just a small 4 foot wide room then, essentially, is it?
Well, a 4 foot wide portal or doorway or something. What I mean is it's a dead end. It's a dead end with a 4 foot wide pool of this, but it looks like there is, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Can I just like
You're like 100 feet away or something. You obviously don't go right into it based on.
Right. Yeah. I will at least go a bit further and see if the air gets much warmer, for example.
Yeah, the air is warmer. It is not. I'd say it is not deathly warm. It is very warm as you get to like you get to like 20 feet and you're like, oh wow, that's hot. Like it's like being next to a kind of big heater unit or something.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Like it's uncomfortably hot, but not damagingly hot at that point at 20 feet.
Yeah. I'm just thinking if I got my own. Yeah. So if I've got my own rope, am I allowed to assume that I was using some rope from the ship for this, or would I be? Because I got 50 feet of rope, but
I think we're assuming we're using your rope.
We're not playing.
I can only go like 50 feet. I can go less than 50 feet down.
No story game here.
Oh come on! Don't ships have their own rope?
Yeah, I was going to say, it probably if you were saying I would like to be lowered down into this and someone can hold on to me, then yes, I'd imagine Jackson would be happy to belay some down.
We're allowed to say the ship comes with rope.
Yeah, no, the ships come with rope. They're rigged, and yeah, the ships will come with.
It's up to you.
Yeah, they will. I was going to say the Star Sail actually uses a sail. The piece of small things, or whatever we're calling it, will have some rope, but it doesn't use ropes. It will use it has hawsers, which are part of the mechanisms for the wings, but it obviously doesn't use sails. So you don't have, if you were on a tradesman, basically just a ship, like a trading cog that was flying in space, that would have loads of rope. But I mean, even for a single sail, you're going to have hundreds of
ropes, right? Obviously.
Yeah. Even for that, even for one big sail, you're going to have hundreds and hundreds of feet of rope coiled.
Yeah, yeah definitely. So so if that's all right, then I'll take out my rope, my hemp rope, and I'll lower it down, see if it burns and gives off hemp rope aroma.
A ropey aroma, yeah. You can lower it and it will.
About me getting.
I was going to say it will ignite within a few feet of it. It will begin to kind of, spark and ignite.
Okay, yeah. I'll quickly pull up the rope.
What you expect near is something very, very hot, essentially.
Yeah. I'll quickly pull up the rope, and if the fire goes out of control, I'll drop it. If it doesn't, I'll just try and put it out by just rubbing it against my leather cuirass. Like Dungeons and Dragons adventures obviously wear too much leather to be historically realistic in any way.
You got a cod piece on, you can rub it against that.
I'm a priestess of Freya. I mean,
exactly.
Yes.
I mean, fully into that. I mean, I'll rub it against my leather or something, braces or something, or leather.
So, what are you rubbing against your leather gauntlets to check? What are you doing?
Yeah, or jacket or whatever, just to put it out if it hasn't gone out of control by the time I've pulled the rope.
Assume you stopped to the point it started to set on fire, essentially. So yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So yes.
Some counts here.
The punchline to this, by the way, is Andrew has been lying to you. Andrew has been lying to you. He is not, in fact, like a 2-ton hippo. He is less than a ton. But what we will assume is that you, at the point you are all feeling like that you will roped up and then roped back down. That's what we're doing.
640 pounds, which seems quite low for a 8-foot tall hippo, to be honest. But
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, this guy
you are a lot more svelte than an actual hippo, like terrestrial hippos. You've seen them. You see. You go and visit your kind of like people visiting gorillas or something, or something like that. You've done nature expeditions with trained GIF who go and take you into the swamps, and these guys are massive. Like an actual hippo is just much bigger, broader, heavier than you are.
Yeah, I've seen gorillas before. They were great live.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Damon are insufferable, obviously, but.
Andrew, my backup character is a Grommet, which is
Sorry.
literally the size of a gorilla, and it's only 400 pounds.
Yeah.
Sorry, the hole that I've gone into, was it just cut into the bare rock or metal rather than being any kind of structure that's clearly...
No, it wasn't a structure. It was like just a flat chimney, yeah. Like as in it's just open and...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was imagining more like a fun version of Santa Claus.
No, it wasn't like brick. It was made of brick in the middle of this metal lump.
Yeah, shockingly, I'm actually taller than I thought by this table as well. I am like 9.5 feet tall and 640 pounds. So
Nice.
so
Andrew, your character was just bullied at school and grew like a load of insecurities, thinking that he was really short and really fat.
Yeah, everyone was telling him how fat he was, and so it's like, I guess I weigh 3 tons.
Turns out, like
2
a
tons.
regular guy.
Yeah, he's really. No, I never noticed that the Mage was ripped.
we think he's really big, but he's been like sneakily losing pounds and working out. And so we turned around one day, we're like, "Hey, you kind of, have you been working out lately?"
Yeah.
Or maybe it's that,
Yes, I have.
like 5 years ago when he was at his desk job eating donuts all day,
Yeah.
he was
Like-
a ton.
the Major was
Yeah.
the first AD&D character I made. It's entirely possible that I couldn't find the weight section and just wrote down the average weight of a male hippo.
I think that is what you did. Yes, I'm pretty sure that is what you did. Which is fine.
I kind of think I'd probably.
It makes as much sense as anything. Yeah.
Yeah,
So yes.
the only way I can figure out how I got to that figure.
No, I didn't write it for Morthylla. I still think.
So yeah, Morthylla, what are you doing?
How did you get that? I figure. Yeah, Morph gets say. It's just hot metal down there.
Yep. So yeah, you go and report back, do you? Yeah.
Yeah, this whole place does still like remind me in a disturbing kind of way of the color out of space sort of thing. Like there's just something very ominous about like some kind of something made out of only one material or two materials that's just out there in space.
That's a comet.
Do any of us have any idea what material this?
I know it's more that if you don't know what it is, but it's not even like.
Any of you a metallurgist or know anything about metals?
Do any of us have like any crafting skills, like metal related, perhaps?
Yeah, I was going to say anyone who has crafting skills might know.
I've got armor there. I don't know if that's...
Yeah. It's not iron. I think you'd guess it's lead or something.
It's not a question of spheres, is it, in any way, shape, or form?
You can always do a taste test if you want to find out if
It's not a question of spheres. Sorry.
I can identify
Yeah, I have
spheres,
cooking.
but that's not really what we're talking about here, is it? Metal.
I have cooking. Is it like couscous
Yeah.
or something?
The Major suggests you should not eat it.
Well, I can't help you then.
I do have some. I have more upstairs actually, but I have some of my kind of classic, my old hammer collection of where it's metal models. Loads of them are pewter white metal, but I have some that are lead. Like I bought them early enough that they're lead, and that's fine. Like as in just handling them, you don't actually even need to wash your hands for that. Really,
got like
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
got out
but
from her.
it's things where we do encourage the kids I think for my wife's peace of mind, we're doing the boys are allowed to play with models that are painted or are pewter, but we try to avoid them playing with the ones that are lead. Again, as long as they're not actually trying to eat them.
Yeah, as long as they don't chew on them,
It's-
they'll be fine.
Yeah. You've got to chew quite a lot of it as well, but yes,
Yeah,
I wouldn't do.
quite long
Don't do
term.
it. Yeah, don't do it at home. I think it's kind of thing like lead-based paint and stuff can be pretty unpleasant because you can end up accidentally getting quite a lot of it. I think for small children.
I mean,
But
the
yeah.
best thing to do would be to just like undercoat them yourself with some spray
Yeah.
cans. And let
Exactly.
them-
Yeah, essentially, anything that's undercoated is sealed, isn't it? You know, they're not going to be able to unless they really go for
quite
it.
well compared to doing it by hand, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got like I think the oldest one I've got is like a Rogue Trader era Death Jester, which is quite more in scale than the rest. I think that one's almost definitely lead. The other ones are more kind
will
of second
Will be.
edition-y.
There will not have been any Harlequins reprinted in pewter.
Yeah. Like the Howling Banshees, I've got like the second version of the Howling Banshees in metal. So they're different poses, but still like two of the same pose.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
So if there isn't anything else we find on the planet, probably give up and leave. I mean,
I was going to say, you've told everyone. I mean, everyone can go back up to the star cell. Any reactions? Any plans?
We had a navigator or something, or a cartographer on crew, I think.
Yeah, you took someone from the Thingamabob, didn't you? From the I'm afraid I forget his name. From the Bral, who runs the. Is he an elf who runs a who I think was the guy who's commissioning it, and then was like, look, if you don't have a guy, I can send someone. But essentially, I think, yeah.
Is it possible to use my Footman's Mace and Pitons to? Are they Pitons or Pitons?
I thought they were pythons.
Pythons.
I think it's pronounced Shife.
Look, it's one of these words that I've only read, Either way, I'll try and use those to take a tiny metal sample if it's possible
Yeah,
to chip
it is actually soft enough. Like it doesn't instantly deform. Like it's probably a lead alloy rather than kind of pure 100% lead.
So if we have a sample, obviously we can always later on get it investigated. If it turns out it's a really expensive bit of metal, we could even just sell the information of where it is, for example.
Yeah, that's why I'm suggesting we should ask ask our cartographer to make a note basically where this place is.
Yes.
Yep. No, he will happily do that. Okay, so
we'll just hope that we get paid something if that happens to be useful info.
Yeah.
We got to blindfold him so he doesn't know where it is, so we can keep it a secret. It's like truffle hunting grounds in Italy.
You get him to mark down the location, then you rip his tongue out.
You can't tell where you
Yeah.
We tattoo the location on the back of his bald head and then let his hair grow back. That's an old Roman trick.
You're a living map.
Yeah. Shall we keep going then? If that's all for here.
Are you heading on to Iron Piece first, or are you going to spend some time on flying around between Spiral and Iron Piece, or what is your procedure? Or are you going to try to land on Spiral? I don't know.
Yeah, so we're looking for obstacles between them. So I suppose what we'd want to do is some kind of methodical set of routes between them. For example, if we did 4 routes going in what would be like a lemon shape, you know what I mean? Like a lemon shape.
Yeah, I get. Well, I guess, and you can see if you look at the rings,
like a spear that's squished and then pointed on each 2 ends.
Yeah, I was going to say, Iron Piece is on a if you look at these circles, Iron Piece actually goes round the other way essentially, whereas the others are in different ellipses. Iron Piece goes. So I guess there's which I guess does mean it has technically a 360 approach, doesn't it? To theoretically. So I guess you could go.
First time in this session.
Yeah. James, I actually need to understand the design of this star system that we've been in for months, for a year or something.
Need a proper simulation of the exact distances according to the planets orbiting at different speeds.
So I mean, there's not that. I think there's assumptions, very helpful assumptions, like you can just generally assume things are the same unless you want to. Otherwise, there are a bunch of calculations like that we can get into, but there are a bunch of things like that you can get into. I think probably, I think for tactical combat, stuff like that matters in the same way that it'd matter knowing actual distances for combat.
It would be cool if like you could automate it with either like a mechanical instrument or like a computer program.
I would say if we were, I do have Foundry. I sometimes noodle on Foundry, and it'd be nice to run on Foundry. It's just a time thing, it's not a quality thing. Foundry is an amazing tool, but someone could do a module for Foundry probably more easily than for Roll20 in terms of what programming is available. And you could definitely have like a good Foundry module. It's just there's no massive market out there for a Spelljammer Foundry module using the rules from 2nd edition AD&D.
That's because people are cowards.
Yep.
What do you mean? You're telling me this isn't the most popular thing in existence? 2nd edition Spelljammer.
Yeah.
There's a specific setting for it.
Yeah, I was going to say there is like a practical way in which I think it's kind of not intentional. It's not intentional. I mean, people run 2nd edition. People run kind of 2nd edition. Yeah, people run 2nd edition in old school ways as well. Like a friend of the channel, Airdrie, who some of you have spoken to actually, possibly on the other thing, but like who kind of take a similar approach in lots of ways. But it is the thing you realise there are not many people.
Local game university, how many younger people do actually like have played AD?
Yeah, indeed. So one AD&D is already AD&D is already not the biggest market, but it's a good. There is a market. People there is a really good audience for AD&D generically. But I think 2nd edition and specifically like weird settings. I think Spelljammer is also not a popular weird setting comparatively. Darkside is obviously.
I think it's one of the more popular ones still. Like I think a lot of people
compared to Thunder Rift. I understand people have not. Birthright has a genuine audience, and because it's so unique and distinctive. But something like say Thunder Rift, you haven't heard of Thunder Rift probably. Red Steel is Mystara, but AD&D. Thunder Rift is technically is basic technically. But these are settings which are very niche.
Yeah, but like I'm surprised at how many younger people I've met actually do. Like not from my like initial D&D circle, but people I've met later on, like the group I formed at my local gaming store.
Find younger people.
People in their 20s or teens.
Sounds like I don't talk to those people.
Surprised at how many have actually played AD&D before or had some interest in it. That it's not actually it's not only people who are on OSR subreddits or really really old.
I think it's a wider cultural thing, as in just a massive study about religiosity and religious attendance came out, for instance, which was like reversal of decades, like massive reversal of decades long trends. Okay, like you have lots of things where people in their 20s and younger have very different behaviours to people older than them in all kinds of directions. Obviously.
They like AD&D.
Yeah, I think when YouTube started, it was like atheism was like the cool thing among nerds. Yeah, and now like religions come around where like religion was really normal, and then atheism was really cool. And now because atheism is too normal, people consider religion to be really cool. So you've got to be religious in more like that.
It's just waiting.
It's got to be like that. I'm non-atheist kind of religious way rather than.
No. Yeah,
and then soon, like atheism will be cool again soon. It'll keep going round in a circle.
Every 20 years, they wheel out Richard Dawkins, increasingly old. He's 140 now. Yeah.
I didn't even know that he was like such an important scientist until much later on as well. I knew he was a scientist.
He was a research scientist through to the 90s. Yeah. Anyway. What were we saying? We were saying that. You're talking about a line shape. Now you're on the map. You can see that it's going the other way, so you're going to go. The point is essentially you can intercept it down and up and on one side. So I guess there's 3 sort of directions you'll go. So sort of triangular lemon. I know what you mean. You're talking about an ellipsis of approaches.
3 lines equidistant across the surface.
Like
geometry, really.
Yeah. You're essentially a prism approach to kind of be like, these are the times you're most likely to be approaching the other planet. Technically, you could do it from all the way across the system, but that'd go through the whole system, wouldn't it? So you're going to do it when they're on the near side, when they're closest to each other. But yeah, great. You can do that. So I guess we'll pick route 1 to Iron Piece. We'll call that the Do I have my measurer? No. Measurer. There's like a measuring stick. There we go. So yeah, like we call that the northern route, like this one, essentially. And yeah. Cool. You're taking the northern route, which is going to be 2 days to Iron Piece, isn't it? So we need spelljammer.org revised encounter tables. I always recommend these. Bral Space itself is from spelljammer.org. It's probably it's an actually detailed system, which is not like you get 3 detailed systems otherwise, plus a couple of. I guess Astromundi Cluster 2, 4 detailed systems.
Yeah. I was going to say also, I think Spelljammer might be one of the more popular, like non-standard settings, just because it's easy to. It's not necessarily. It's like in some ways it's really well executed. In some ways, some things could be a tiny bit better. But like it's good. It's easy to market to people because it's like it's D&D in space.
I know.
How many people of my generation watched Treasure Planet and thought, yeah, if that could be a D&D campaign?
Don't bring up Treasure Planet. Alex is here.
Treasure Planet.
Treasure Planet.
It's the best Disney movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Mage has a dense. Andrew, by the way, dear channel, has done the maths and has modelled the Mage as a 50 centimeter radius cylinder, placing his density at 127 kilos per meter cubed, which is
the ultimate density of cork, like a wine cork, or like the place in Ireland.
Half the density of cork. Yeah.
Cork the material.
Okay. Are you sure it's not the place in Ireland?
Yeah. The density of the average person from cork is much higher.
Well, it's actually the same place.
People aren't uniform cylinders, but
Cork Island is named for the cork mines.
Yeah.
That's where the cork mines are, yeah. Great. So yes, you are travelling 2 spaces, so we have 2 checks. You are not on the inner track, you are no longer on are you actually on a ring anymore between those 2? I guess you're not. No, I guess you are actually. The way we're using the space, you are +1. The space will patrol +2, so it's a 3 in 20 chance. And who is going to roll an encounter for us? Alex.
Yeah.
D20.
Sure.
I do think the D20 choice is clever because it more or less means you can line up from a 5% chance to a 25% chance, but in an organic way. So and then this is, by the way, that's another day of rations. Whoever's keeping the stash should mark.
I think that's me.
Yep. And then Andrew, do you want to roll a D20?
Yes.
This is for Iron Piece, yeah. So no encounters on the way to Iron Piece.
Can I have some rations off someone?
Yeah, I'm just taking them off the ship.
Yeah.
We've got
ship biscuits.
Rations, yeah.
Mm. Yeah. As you approach Iron Piece, you will see that on this northern route there is I guess we think of it as almost a barrage blockade. It's not solid, but there are kind of artificial satellites on this side of Iron Piece, and you can see they seem to continue round it, dotted at various intervals. You can thread your way through.
What did we know about these places? So was Spiral a Scro or an elf place? I can't remember.
Well, it's Scro now. It was Elven, and the Scro conquered it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Which is the reason why here is that the Imperial Elven Navy was restricted to its base on Bral at that point, and the Prince of Bral was like, "Yeah, let's trade. Let's have peace. Peace is better for trade."
Hmm. And sorry, I might have missed a tiny bit. Is Iron Piece a dwarf?
Iron Piece is gnomish. It is a ring. It is a sort of solid ring world. It is a flat. It's called Iron Piece because people think it's like a coin. Is the idea. It's roughly coin shaped. The top side.
So it's a ring world, but it's a coin shape.
It's a disc world.
Yeah, it's a disc world. Sorry, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's not a ring world in the sense of there is an inner surface everyone lives on.
Yes, the ring world is a
okay,
table.
yeah.
Coin is not.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. No, it's
like,
we're actually going to
so,
be playing Raven's
so it's
ring
just a
worlds,
world of, like,
including the strange gender politics of Catmen.
So bizarre.
what, a ring world?
Yeah,
the
the novel Ring World, it is decent. I've not read the sequels. I wasn't so excited by the first one that I wanted to, but I was like, yeah, this is decent.
Oh, sorry, is this speaking about Terry Pratchett novel?
No, though he did also write about Ringworld and a Discworld. But no, there is a novel called Ringworld by Larry Niven.
Oh, okay,
Classic sci-fi.
never heard of it. Is it good?
Yeah, it's decent. That's what I just said.
Oh, okay. Sorry, yeah. I once had a very weird, vivid dream about.
A Ringworld.
Is that the source of the idea of
Some kind of ring world that Colin got. They're kind of ring world. They're more like a cylinder. They're more like a cylinder that people live on the inside of.
What?
Anyway,
Spheres. Yeah, that is Rama. Rendezvous with Rama by Arthur C. Clarke.
I thought it was. I knew Dyson Spheres were Clark. I wasn't sure about Ringworld.
No, Ringworlds are Niven. Well, Ringworlds, I think both of them are theorised prior to those authors, to be clear. Yeah.
But
Okay.
those authors
Yeah.
made
So
them boring.
if we can delicately, go past the satellites and just set foot in Iron Piece. Maybe just quickly ask about rumors. Basically, I just asked them if you see any obstacles between Iron Piece and Spiral, because we might as well. Right?
Yeah. Yes, no. As you approach, you will be intercepted, like automatic encounter style. As you get closer, you'll actually recognise the kind of ship. It's a Spud Fighter, so-called Spud Fighters, which your friend Gimbal, Wilsp's friend, very mourning his lot, of course. Gimbal had one. But yes, you'll see. Yeah, some Spud Fighters will come onto an intercept course with you, and will. Probably they look like they're approaching to visual distance.
We should slow down. We're not.
Yeah, I was going to say your wings are the wings are presumably open, actually, aren't they?
Yeah, and along with the white flags, of course, Morthylla and the Barb, with Morthylla's new singing proficiency, will play music of peace and love.
The music of peace and love on the planet Earth. Yeah. Well, you can go out on the open deck. You can go. So I guess is the open deck where you'll go then? I guess for that. Like I guess that's the most visible place. Yeah.
Yeah, copyright-free music of peace and joy.
Yeah, so that YouTube doesn't auto copyright strike you for sections of reset music.
Yes.
Which is almost certainly not actually a correct use of copyright law. There's a bunch of stuff like that with YouTube where you're like,
public domain.
Yeah. Like that is similar to the issue. It's like when you're like, oh, okay, so there was a really punitive. This happened to us once, where like we crossed a bridge and we got and we're like, oh, we have to pay the toll for this bridge near Runcorn, and I think it turned out it was like a 24-hour period, which is less generous than most, or something like that. But then we got the fine wasn't big. It wasn't that much bigger thing. We're like, okay, we'll pay you. This was like a day later. It was really annoying. We were like, whatever. And I was looking at reasonability on that kind of thing, and reasonableness is probably actually a much bigger period than that. But no one is going to spend the time and money trying to like fight a 20 quid fine or something. So essentially, yeah, it's the same with copyright strikes on reset music and stuff like that. Almost certainly, if you had, a big enough organisation want to have a fight about that exact thing, then they'd win. But YouTube are not going to change their mind without that. And no one is going to actually spend the money to do it, essentially.
I will admit, though, it's kind of funny that like you can't have music that's copyrighted in the background, but you can actually like post someone else's video with you just reacting to it in the corner, and apparently
what no one actually knows is I'm doing this. You guys are playing a game, and I'm dubbing over the DM.
Guys, if you look really, really closely at your screen right now, you'll see Asmongold reacting to our video.
This channel is actually Asmongold Reacts.
Yeah, that's actually the smell we were talking about, was his room.
Oh. The algorithm's not going to like that one.
No, sorry.
We're going to get swamped by people who like Asmongold.
Swamped.
I don't know who that is.
Don't worry, it's a channel. There are many other channels like it, but that is his channel.
Owen, we're going to get swamped by all of his fans, both of them.
Asmongold, you said that Asmongold is much more success. I have look, there are 7 people who play these games. That is 7 fans. I have 10 people in the open table realm, so that's 10. Let's say I have 10 fans. He has way more fans than I do. He has at least 12.
Okay, but probably like if you took the sum of brain cells, like we'd have a slight edge.
Isn't that all reaction channels? Isn't that any successful Twitch channel is populated mostly by like literally thousands of people, but who are mostly morons?
The real question is,
After
I wonder why we're not doing better when we insult all our fans.
the real question is surely how many of Asmongold's viewers have seen Zulu?
Probably a couple. I don't know. Probably not enough.
Statistically speaking.
Yeah.
I will say there's certainly like a current trend with YouTube and other social medias where the companies are trying to veer off the importance of followers and like do more to like suggestive videos and For You pages and stuff. So you probably find more and more accounts that have like a huge number more viewers than they actually have like followers and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I get that via people who are wrecked onto it by something else for like completely different things, obviously.
But the important thing here is like Owen only has a few followers, but we're basically a cult. We all have a suicide pact.
They would all die for me. And one day, soon,
huge amount of money to Owen. He also knows the location of all of our family members and all of the deadly allergies they have. He's basically got like.
This is not from some of the stuff. This is not that far from some of the stuff that came up in the NX. I forget the stupid actual name, like the way you pronounce it, but NXIVM. Like some of the inner circle stuff like that was like people taping compromising videos about themselves to explain all the bad things they'd done and like secrets about their family, just to prove how much they trusted the leader of the cult. And you're like, that's.
Like, for any new viewers who've just dropped in, this was a joke. Please don't cancel Owen.
No, come on. If it turned out I led a cult, my reach would only increase.
That's true.
It would improve. By the way, our viewership has slightly gone up in the background, so presumably all the Asmongold viewers are coming in right about now.
Yeah.
Asmongold. Hey, this is a Spelljammer actual play. Yes. So. Yeah. So the Spud fighters will see you, and I think they'll identify that it looks like Is it 2 humans or is it a human and an elf? I'm just trying to remember. Is Nimrine an elf or a human?
Nimrine. I think Nimrine is a human. I will just double check the main session. Where is yeah, this person is a human. We didn't know the race. Means I assumed it was a human.
No, she's a human. Great. No, so yes, they will know that you're 2 humans rather than Scro, and will approach down into the air bubble so that they can talk to you. One of the hoods pops up, X-wing style. There's a little droid in the back, and the gnome will look over, essentially ask your business and ask if you're staying, and do you know you're in a demilitarized zone, or you've traveled across what they consider a demilitarized zone.
Yeah.
We're not
I will hold Nimrine back from telling it all through the medium of song and dance, and I'll crouch down.
She starts. Yeah.
Yeah.
The demilitarized zone, we expected to surrender our weapons, or?
I will happily leave our ship and weapons anywhere safe that's outside of the demilitarized zone if you wish. Sorry, I probably cut out that.
I think that they're probably asking, under what flag you fly, what your business is here, things like that.
Ichabod steps up.
No.
Bad plan.
Simon has a character who would be really sympathetic to these people, and he's like, no, I'm going to send the Scro priest of Romanos.
Have you heard the word of Romanos?
I'd like to
It is under his banner that we have
I'd like to tackle him.
Yeah, Kawakami and Ichabod are now fighting kind of on the edge of the screen and comically circling back round into camera shot every couple of minutes.
They're doing the thing where like you're pretending you're fighting someone from off stage, and like you pretend that your arm is the assailant's arm and stuff, that you're getting dragged in and like pulling yourself back out.
No, it's more like Peter Griffin and the chicken.
It's full cartoon, like fists flying everywhere,
Yeah. So Morthylla, you're now the person talking apparently because Kawakami is interrupted.
Yeah, so I might have cut out there, but I was going to crouch down like someone speaking to a child and very politely say, I apologize. We didn't know quite where to put our ship or how to approach, but we'll happily put our ship somewhere outside of the demilitarized zone, buffering between the space and this planet if you wish, and then set out like a small little boat. Just tell us what exactly your regulations are, basically. What's allowed, what is in terms of what you can bring.
Yeah, as in NPC is still open to trade, but obviously everything has to be searched coming in, warships are not allowed within the DMZI, within the barrage, so they probably want to know your armament and, as I say, under what political flag you fly. As in, what's your registration? What is your purpose?
Okay.
I'll register it with.
Yeah, so we're associated with the Bral. We're a bunch of freelance explorers, contractors, bodyguards. Sorry, did I cut out there?
No, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So, and I'll say, we apologise. We don't understand the rules. We'll happily let you search the vehicle as a gesture of trust, and then move outside of the demilitarized zone.
So puts her hands at the top of the steering wheel and says, "We need to be clear that there were no drugs in here before you planted them."
Officer, I am reaching for my license.
Yeah.
To take my hands through it.
I promise, officer, this rope does not contain any hemp.
The Major has started filming on his smartphone.
Like, are we a warship? Like, do we have to?
Not really, but we are a ship that has weapons of war.
If you declare your armament, obviously, if you're declaring your armament, then you can do that.
Yeah,
you're not particularly heavily armed. It's fair to say.
Yeah. I'll say that if they want, we can move outside the demilitarized zone and send our smaller ship over, as long as that's not considered a weapon. Obviously, if there's siege weapons on it.
Kawakami is considered a complete weapon.
My entire body is a weapon.
My body is a
weapon.
Yeah, I was going to say. So for contrast, a Nautiloid, which I'm pretty sure a Nautiloid is. This is in terms of ships, probably worth it for you understanding the scale of things. Because tonnage also determines hull points, for instance. So there's a thing about what ships you're using, and also armor thickness. So a Swan ship, the Swan ship is not much smaller, for instance, than a Nautiloid. It's 32 tons, so it's 32 hull, and a Nautiloid is 35, therefore 35. A Swan ship though is thinward, whereas a Nautiloid is thickwood for purposes of essentially for saving versus effects, and it has AR7 compared to Nautiloid AR4.
Okay, so
it has 3 medium ballistae, 1 medium catapult, a medium jettison, and a piercing ram, whereas a Swan ship has 2 medium ballistae and a heavy catapult. So you're kind of probably a heavily armed trader. Certainly, it's a ship used by elves and halflings, and it's used for trade rather than for war. So I think they would recognise it as an armed merchantman.
Yeah. Shall we tell them they can look through the Swan ship if it's necessary for the rules? They can take the ammo away from the Swan ship, and even if it still has a siege weapon, if they can't be removed, then at least it's.
Don't put ideas into their heads. Just tell them we're subject to local
answer their questions and don't volunteer everything.
Yeah.
We'll do anything we can get away with.
Maybe try and conceal the Ichabod.
Yeah.
Where we can hide the.
There's the head. You could stuff him in the head, I guess.
I'm trying to hide Ichabod. He's not.
Sorry, that guy's our terrifying figure piece that came alive.
He's much less cool than Sir Haroon. Sir Haroon, for the audience reference, is a 6-inch tall or whatever it is human who seems to be from the world of the Broken Sword or something, or from kind of a fantasy Europe, and he is very good at fighting, but only does 1+1 damage with his magic sword.
Yeah, we happened to find him in sort of a cupboard as a magical figurine that came to life. Yes.
He's an Indian in the cupboard reference, pretty clearly.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't get that.
Yeah. We'll just tell the gnomes like, yeah, just tell us what the process is. We'll get
I'm pretty sure everyone else did, Alex, at the time, by the way.
No one said anything.
Well, okay. I
did.
tried recently.
I've not read that in 15
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, I must have read it when I was a kid, actually. But I saw Owen's review
Years
of
ago.
it. It's on the channel. Go check it out. Yada yada.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that,
subscribe.
obviously, I detected that that was a similar time to when we had that little dungeon. So
Yeah. Yep. So yes. They will signal you to. Basically, they will escort you to where there is a dread never to, that is able to search you.
yeah, cool.
Yeah. And if you follow, then they will do so, and they will
Like a police escort, like the two cars in front of us.
Yeah, it's two little motorbikes. Yeah, it's like a motorbike escort either side of you.
Is there like a door? Is there like a gnome and then like an even smaller gnome in the little thing that attaches to the motorbike with the extra wheel that like
Sidecar.
Yeah,
No, they're like Bespin cloud cars. Like a completely needless design.
I do love how like sidecars on motorbikes. I've only ever seen them in films and only ever during action scenes, so that there can be like another guy on the motorbike who's firing a gun or something from the sidecar.
What there was during World War II, the Danish Army's only kind of armored vehicle equivalent, pretty much, was something called the Nimbus, which I think it's called the Nimbus, wasn't it? Which was a motorbike, which basically once you stopped it, you could then kind of like put a parking support on it, and the sidecar had an anti-tank gun in it.
Nice. There was a with like one of the anarchist factions in the Russian Civil War. I can't remember the name of it, but they had a weapon that was basically just a machine gun on a carriage pulled by a horse, presumably, hopefully, very, very fast.
Technical.
Yeah, I was about to say it's a technical, isn't it? Yeah. He saw that modern warfare would be defined in second world countries, third world countries by Mitsubishi trucks with machine guns on them, and in first world countries it'd be defined by, and second world countries it'd be defined by drone warfare. That is what has happened. That is the world we live in.
Chariot's cool, and that's like a modern chariot,
Yeah, indeed, yeah. I was going to say, technicals are chariots. Technicals are chariots, as in the idea of lightly armored gun platforms. Yeah, that's what technicals are.
Yeah, cavalry is still a term in the military, isn't it? For helicopters and
things that do the purposes you expect of cavalry. Yeah. So they will escort you to a dread never. It is called Bigger Than I Look, and a crew will come over, like as an inspection crew, who will establish, I guess, the very limited paperwork you probably did pick up at Bral. I don't think we discussed that, but the very limited paperwork you did pick up at Bral will be checked, and they will look around and establish your ammunition. You don't need to your ammo is presumed to be stowed rather than like you're just like about to fire everything. But you don't need to do anything extra with it. They will accept you at face value. They have no reason to believe that you're Scro aligned. You also do include a retired officer of the Imperial Elven Navy and a retired. I mean, this is less impressive, but a retired GIF mercenary. So you have a crew that looks legitimate, and Xeethra as well is obviously an elf, as is Vil.
Yes, who wasn't selected for the draft.
Yeah. No, they will probably ask Vil, they'll be like, "Are you like half Sverf Neblin? You look like a Sverf Neblin, half elf, half Sverf Neblin. Are you that?" They ask in a curious but potentially inconsiderate manner.
Yeah, I say he's actually been sunbathing in the dark Nether Star recently in another year. It gives you a bit like sunburn, but instead it's like dark green or something.
It's not sunburnt, it's called sunblessed, I think you'll find.
Pretty offensive.
Yeah. They're completely blasé. They're like, they nod, and then walk off to look at the next thing.
Also, I think our official paperwork says that we are a crew officially aligned with Remain Us.
It
No.
depends on who filled out the paperwork.
Kawakami looks at the actual official documents, and it has like under like political affiliation, which is blank. it has written in crayon "Remain of Us" on it.
Yeah, they're like sweaty fingerprints and like some like bits of chocolate stuck to it as well. It's like, yes, I see.
Yeah. So yeah, they will inspect it, and they will welcome you into. Let's just double check where you go. As in, yeah. Well, I'll give a description as you're approaching it, because you're obviously now allowed to approach it more closely. Iron Piece is 390 miles across, and it. You do not see as you come in. You don't see like any ships that are not gnomish here. It is. Let's have a look. Yeah, it is heavily forested, and on the upside, on the bottom side, the flip side, so-called, you've learned before, you don't see it on the approach, but it's barren, and it is iron rich. This is one reason it's called Iron Piece. It's coin shaped, but also it is iron rich. It has like a lip at the edge, so it's a bowl, if you know what I mean. It goes down into it, and yeah, yeah, you can't fall off. Yeah,
as a bowl is the forested area, as in the inside of the bowl, rather than the bottom of the bowl.
Yeah, the bottom of the bowl is barren. It's also it's a bowl on the bottom essentially as well. But yeah,
Okay.
Yep.
I see.
So
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll be directed to Port Walkaway. There are other cities, but or other towns and kind of regional hubs. But Port Walkaway is a big port on a central. I'll get this up for next time. On a central lake. There are a number of lakes as well, and you'll be directed into. You'll be told that it is a dockyard called the Yacht Club. They just seem to think this is a normal name. And there is a military area. It's heavily protected by war machine towers. Like you'll see as you come closer. Some of them don't look like things you're familiar with, though the major probably specifically is. You're fairly sure you see like a steam cannon in one major and a bombard in another, like heavily armed. And there is a civilian dock within this as well. Like it's a naval port, but there's a civilian dock. You'll see, there's some gnomish side wheelers down in the gnomish area. There's a tradesman. There's a hammer ship, and there's some. There's a number of. There's more Spudniks as well. The fighters. There does look like there's a very big hall that looks like, again, probably the Spelljammers amongst you, the Spacefarers amongst you would think might look like a dry dock hall for building stuff. And yeah, you'll be allowed to land and be told that you can get supplies here, etc. You'll be able to gain rooms and stuff. That's probably what we'll pick up on next time, I guess. But yes, your cartographer would have made notes about the formation of the barrage, as well as of the object near Spiral, or in the ring of Spiral. So you've got a couple of map points so far off that session. We should wrap up. We will be playing. I think we're playing in 3 or 4 weeks, depending on the exact way it washes out. But yeah, we'll be playing this again. A couple more sessions at least is our expectation before we switch to Birthright, which we're working out today. I think Simon is waiting. I was going to say, the 5 regions, we can pick any of them. I have all the information with them. I have a few ideas for each. But yeah, if people in the comments want to say, I think what I said, there's a Slavic region, there's a Celtic/Arthurian region, there's a Nordic region, there's a sort of Fantasy Arabia influenced region, and there is a German/Hanseatic region.
To give like kind of a vote on what region we want to do, or is it just?
Well, no, I didn't say massive. I'd say in the end, if there's anything, people should say, if people know Birthright, they can offer their opinions in the comments. Is my thought, but certainly the players will be, I think, influential in deciding what we do for that, because I can adapt. I have a few ideas.
I think the best thing I could say is, if we choose the Arabic region, there'd be a dangerous risk of us doing inappropriate accents.
But you wouldn't need an accent, because you wouldn't need to do an accent, because if you're speaking in that language, you don't have an accent.
So everybody else has an accent.
Yeah. Only I will be cancelled.
Oh gosh.
I will do an accent for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say I
It'll be horrible.
do like the sound of that setting. I won't be doing any accents, but
James saying up front, please do not post about me on Blue Sky. I have not yet done an accent.
yeah. I'll happily do my character's voice, but not in that. Not,
Yeah. Not in that way. Yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
not in that way.
Yeah, then. Yeah. Well, we will pick this up. I'll end the stream now, and we'll pick this up in a few
yeah,
weeks.
like Habibi.
Cool.
Yeah, random Arabic words. There we go. Yeah, I was going to say we did. Maybe it was the Asmongold reference. We did end up.